Hi, and welcome to A Punk with Toys. My name is Lawrence, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Operation Monster Force Blackwatch Agent. Now, as you can see, this character is just your plain Jane Secret Serviceman, if that's what you're looking for. And here we go. You look at him. This is the art, or not the art, the actual picture of him. Once you open this up, you can see that he is also not just an agent, but he's also a dark agent, a Blackwatch agent. And quickly reading the back, this is a something they derived from Dracula's blood, I believe, the vampire blood, to protect the general. All right, so here's a little comic panel that probably tells a little bit about it. But again, I'm not here about the lore. I'm here to actually take a look at the action figures, see how they look, see how they play with, and see how they feel. Anyway, there you go, right there, part of season 2, and then you can see here them transformed into what they're considered the Blackwatch Agent. You get the cross-sell of everything from season 2. Again, I'm super excited to get more stuff out. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of stuff to still get to. So get ready, man. If you're an Operation Monster Force fan, you're going to see a lot of me on the YouTubes this next week. But anyway, let's get into this. But before we do, if you like this type of content, you like when I drop the Operation Monster Force and give you reviews, please take a second, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I drop an Operation Monster Force review. All right, so we got our figure out here, and we're going to take a look at everything quickly. Now, before you might wonder, hey, you know, you have this and you have a white head, but what if I want to army build these? They're all going to look the same. They do have this Blackwatch Agent pack. Obviously, I will do this in a later video, but you can see here they do have a black version of them. They got a blonde version of them, a brown-haired version, and then we have different versions of the actual agent, or the Blackwatch, I guess, once they change is what they're going to be called. So, all right. So let's look at everything that we've already seen here. I always like to go over the accessories first, and then we go over, and then I start with the stuff that we've already seen. So we got this one blast effect. We got a nice little plume right here. It has this nice translucent yellow. It's kind of orange down here. And again, I mentioned it before. It seems like it's a one shot rather than like explosions, making it look like it's an automatic. We got a somewhat smaller version of it. All right, I like this one a little bit more. This one, I guess, would be for my like a high-powered rifle, I would feel. This one here has a little bit more of an explosion. I wish there was like a little bullet tip. I think that would just pop a little bit more the way this looks. Then we get a longer one that I think comes more from a pistol. Now this has more of an explosion, but again, they all are just yellow, translucent, and you get this orange right down here. So it does look really nice, and as long as they're in a nice shot when you're doing photography, they work really well. And then we have our smoke effect, and this comes with every single figure that has a weapon. So you are going to end up with an abundance of blast effects, which is good. I can never have enough blast effects when I'm doing photography, and there is one specific brand that I like to use, and I think the Valivers still make the nicest, cheapest ones, believe it or not. All right. So then we'll get to his hands, and he has a good amount of hands. So of course he's going to have a couple fist hands. All right, and the detail on him looks pretty good. You can see the bone structure running through there. Fisted real, that sounded wrong. A nice fist. All right, and for some odd reason, their paint never seems to be super smooth. It doesn't look bad, but it's definitely a different type of paint, if you ask me, where it's never super smooth. And then we have a couple open hands, your left and your right. You can see the nice fingernails on it. All right, and again, this is going to be for different types of grabbing stuff. Now, again, I think in this type of environment, this type of figure, these open hands work really well. They don't work a lot of times for G.I. Joe and stuff, I don't think, but it seems like there'd be a lot of grabbing and clutching in this universe. Then we have our trigger fingers, all right, which are, to me, the most essential of all the hands that you can get when it comes to action figures. They do move up and down, which will actually allow you to pose the figure better when you are aiming the rifles or pistols. But again, those look nice. The one thing I don't like, and I've mentioned this before, is I don't like how their thumbs are. They seem cocked down too much. It makes it harder to actually put a rifle or a weapon in their hand. And then the trigger finger, even though it's cupped over, and maybe that's how it really would be, it's very difficult. You have to pry this open to get it inside the trigger guard. So, and then this is one that I don't believe that we've seen, and this is a pointing finger. And this really works well because he's supposed to be protecting the, you can't see the general, he's right there. So he would be pointing like over there, like, you know, enemies are coming in. All right. As for his weapons, we get the same pistol I think that we've been seeing. There's no wash on this one, just pure black. Again, he's an agent, probably not been out in the field as much. He's there to protect the generals, the presidents, the important people. He's a Secret Service guy. But you got your nice grip. You can see the rivet here, kind of holding that grip together. You get your trigger guard and your trigger. Nice slide. There's your safety right there. You got a port for blast effects. All right. Now, take their blast effect. And it is a really tight fit. And what worries me the most about these tight fits is that this stem breaking off. So, again, when it comes to like 3D printed stuff, a lot of times you can warm it up, but this is not 3D printed. All right. Nice and straight. And this is like, this feels really good, to be honest. And these weapons are now created by Gridiron. So then we get his submachine gun. It does have a removable stick magazine. You can see a bullet there. Unfortunately, this one is not painted. Unlike, oops, the one that comes with Halloween Boy. And if you miss my Halloween Boy, this is what I'm talking about. That's something that Mezco normally does, so I thought it was awesome they did it. Would have been cool if they did it with this one too, but this one's just all black. This is really, if you look at this figure, in my opinion, this is one of those cost saver figures. This is one where you get a little bit less, you still pay the same price, and it offsets the stuff you get with the other figures. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's just kind of what I've seen happening with a lot of brands. So anyway, looking at this, we got the nice stock here. It looks like it's supposed to be foldable. I believe Gridiron actually makes this and it folds up. Again, 3D printed stuff, you can do different things over injection molding. You got your nice stock, your trigger guard. You got your foregrip. I hate these, to be honest, with action figures. They just don't work as well. You got your scope. You got your iron sight right there. And then you got your nice barrel. All right. There you can see your... oh, that's actually your trigger guard. I think this is what switches it from full auto to 3-round burst to single. I think I said it wrong on the other video. But, all right. Now, as for this here, the blast effect. Again, very, like, that's really hard to get to go on like that. This was the one that I used on the pistol. And so this is something I feel they need to work on for sure. There's no reason why I should not be able to get their blast effects in their weapons. If I was trying to put this on, let's say, a Hasbro gun, I'd understand. Or put a Hasbro blast effect on, or a Valiverse blast effect. What I was saying is they need to work on this, because there's no reason why their blast effects I should have to kind of pry and hope that they fit in there. That is disappointing. I do feel like there's something different between wherever they had these ones made in the first wave. Something just seems different. The first wave seemed very, very smooth and everything. They also come with this stand. Operation Monster Force are all the same. Again, I'm not a fan of stands. I made that perfectly clear, but I do like this for background. Make it that they're in a cemetery. They're all beat up. I think they should have done for season 2, maybe a little bit different, but again, cost-cutting measures. Tells you Operation Monster Force. Right here it says the Blackwatch Agent. All right. Now we're going to get to the Blackwatch head sculpt and hand. So obviously once they change, they have these nice fingernails that are kind of sticking out All completely black, probably works with the name Blackwatch. All right, and the detail in it I think looks really good. So you got those nice long fingernails so he can attack, fight off people. Then you're going to get your trigger fingers. All right, and again, this should actually probably be easier. I'll be interested to see how well this goes in. They are pliable enough, so you should be able to get their hands in there. But just remember, when you're putting weapons in, just kind of pry them open if you need it. No punching hands, no C-grip hands for this. And then we have the actual Blackwatch face. So all black. You do have the nice green eyes that make it pop. And you can tell they painted the teeth. And I don't know if that's supposed to be maybe their saliva. It becomes looking, you know, black or whatever. But looking at the hair, I think this is nice. This is kind of all the way back. You can see the strands, which gives it depth. The ears and the way that it kind of sticks up. It looks like even there, maybe there's some paint up there. You can see how it glosses right there. But then you get to the nose, the way the nose changes to a point. You get the wrinkles in the forehead, all in the chin. Again, it looks real nice, and it's going to sit here on its own neck peg. So to get these off, you will probably have to heat this up. And well, I guess you won't. I've had to with other ones. So I guess this one I don't need to worry too much about. All right, on to our actual Blackwatch figure before we start posing them. And again, just in a regular suit. So looking here, no removable sunglasses. I'm perfectly fine with. All right, so looking at this guy, he's got some nice hair parted on over. Again, you can see the strands, just trying to make it look like it's an actual person or actual hair. You get the glasses, so we don't have to worry about any eyes. All black there. I think the face sculpt is actually really nice. You get the ears designed pretty well there. There might be a little bit of overspray there. Now, before people say I'm getting too, too nitpicky, I'm just reviewing. I'm just saying this is type of stuff that you might see. You got your lips that look good. Nose is pretty good. As we get down to the jacket, we get his collared shirt and the black tie. And the black tie is not... I guess it's glued onto it. But you can move this just a little bit, probably paint the black. So if you wanted to make it look like it's blowing in the wind. But it is going to be glued all the way down, it looks like. Which is going to... okay, so it's actually part of the upper torso right here. All right. As we come down his suit jacket, you got your little buttons right there. You got your pockets. This is very pliable. All right. So you're not going to have a problem moving him. Now, this would be awesome if there was some way to wire this to make this look like it's also flowing if he's in a running pose or stuff like that. You have the arms going down. You have a little bit of wrinklage in it, but again, this is a suit that you're not going to have too much wrinkling in it. Get down to the belt buckle. You got some nice belt loops. You have the holes for the belt, and then the silver paint right there really does make it pop and make it seem real. You got the seam down his leg, and then right down to his dress shoe. You can see the shoelaces, and it really does look like a dress shoe with a little heel on it. As for the articulation on this guy, he looks like Jason DeMel. And if you change the color of his hair, he looks like Josh DeMel. Guy from Transformers. All right. His head, he can look up, which is actually pretty good, and he can look down. He can turn it side to side. He has a perfect T-pose. He can swivel not only at the shoulder, but also at the bicep. Double pinless elbows. This one feels really smooth. All right. And his butterfly joints. Does he have butterfly joints? Why wouldn't he have butterfly joints? He has butterfly joints, but they're mostly aesthetic, it looks like. Again, like, this is a figure that I should be able to use the butterfly joints to cross over and hold their guns together, considering he's going to be holding this pistol a lot, right? That's what you would think with an agent. So that is a disappointment. I don't understand why these companies are doing butterfly joints if they're not going to make them work. All right. And I know this may upset some people, but I'm a reviewer. I'm pointing stuff out. We have the diaphragm cut, which you know I'm not a huge fan of. I think the ab crunch just works way better. All right. Sometimes this looks better, but I think the ab crunch works better. So he can look down about that far with it, and he can kind of go back. It doesn't really move that much. And then he can turn side to side. He can tilt over, which is nice. You can do some good photography there. His Jean-Claude Van Damme is about to there. He does not have drop-down hips. So this one, oh wait, he does have drop-down hips. Nice, these are drop-down hips, but, so that's drop-down hip right there. Oh, I guess he does. They don't really work all that well. It looks like he can sit, so that might be really good for something that I'll be doing later on. All right, double pinless knees. No thigh cut, which I understand breaks the aesthetic. It can swivel a little bit there. And then you have your ankle rocker. And the ankle, so the boot cut is actually down here. The same with like Shipwreck. And then you have your ankle rocker that can kind of move around like that. He's a good looking figure. I have a feeling his posability is not going to be the greatest, but we're going to find out, aren't we? All right. As for swapping this, you have to work these things off. And you may have to heat it up, because what I've noticed is when it's pinched down or it's on that ball joint there, the head comes off really easy. Usually you have a hard time getting this neck off, but that neck is pretty close to coming off. And again, there you go. So just push it forward. It should come off. Now this is a hard plastic, so you shouldn't have to worry about one being, them both being soft and it's sticking together. But if you feel the need to heat it up, heat it up. There's nothing wrong with heating up figures to get accessories off or get accessories on. So I have a feeling this here is going to take a little bit of pressure and possibly some heat. Now, if you ask me why I'm not using heat right away, is I want to show you what you're going to have to deal with if you're going to need that. And I don't feel like the head's going on all the way. I don't feel like that neck is snapping on. I mean, it's on there, but it looks way too high. So I think I'm going to have to heat this up. But let's try and get the hands off and swap the hands quickly. Hands come off super easy. So the hand swap really easy. So now what I'm going to go do is I'm going to go heat up the head and then pop it on here so we can see exactly how he looks. Again, I do this without any heat because I want to show you what you're going to have to deal with. And now we know probably going to have to use some heat. All right, heat has been applied. Just use hot water, not boiling water, and it pops on nice and easily. So if you're having a hard time getting the neck off, if the head pops off and you don't want to push it the way that I was doing it, just heat the figure up. You actually really only have to heat up the top of it because the hands come off so easily, all right? But as soon as I move that, this neck piece here, I can tell you, is actually very soft and pliable once it's heated up. So you really don't need to worry too much about it, all right? So there's our Blackwatch Agent. All right, now we can take our rifle and see how easily this thing is going to go in. I feel like this rifle, this submachine gun it feels a little out of scale, but I'm not a gun aficionado, but it just seems like it's more based on a 7-inch scale than a 6-inch scale. I think the design of it looks good. Most of the stuff that Gridiron does is pretty nice. So this is why I hate these foregrips like this, because they're action figures and you struggle to keep their hands on it. I guess that one's not all that bad, but to get this figure here, now he has those heels, which is not going to make him the easiest to stand, but I can get him on one toe, just like that. All right. Can we get him in a running pose while he's firing, trying to protect the general or the president or whoever, whoever you want? I think we're going to see a lot of people using this guy in your G.I. Joe displays, just your typical guy. Your typical Secret Service protecting the general, which I'm going to do next. My gosh. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to stand on one foot. This table wasn't the greatest. There we go. I saw I get him on one foot, so if you're doing pictures, I don't think he's going to stay like that, but you'd be surprised. I had a Crimson Guard on one foot for quite some time. Same with the female Valkyries. All right. Now, as for popping this off, it should still be nice and warm. Let's move this here. That actually pops off pretty easily. And now most of these head pegs will fit old G.I. Joe figures of the first couple waves. First couple waves, they'll fit Marvel Legends, they'll fit Valiverse. New G.I. Joes, they won't fit. So if you have some of those extra G.I. Joe heads, you might be like, oh, what am I supposed to do with that? And all I can say is you do nothing with them. You bore them out. Or you find someone who will 3D print neck pegs for you and hope that they work, right? So there you go. That is your Blackwatch figure. Blackwatch Agent, shall I say. Now it's time to do some pictures and decide how I'm going to do stuff with them. And then we're going to get to General Brown next. All right, so there you go. That is your Blackwatch Agent. This is going to be a nice filler. Again, one of the problems when it comes to money is that this is a $37 figure. You're going to get only the Blackwatch head, and then you get your regular head. And then you can buy a figure pack right there to go with different heads. Now, you might be able to use those for other figures, Marvel Legends. Maybe you have some of these agent styles, these suited figures. Maybe you just want to use like that you find at, you know, Ross or Ollie's. And you can use those head sculpts. When we get to that, we're going to be popping them on some Marvel Legends to see how they work and if that's what you can do. But anyway, good figure. I think the heels are going to cause some issues when it comes to certain types of posing. Again, I don't like to use stands. If you use stands, it doesn't matter. You're cheating, so who cares, right? But all in all, a nice looking figure. I like the pliability here. I like the fact that we can kind of move the tie if you want to make him look like he's moving. But I'll be interested to see him walking next to General Brown or any of the other generals, because there's 4 different heads. If you want to create a whole jugglers, we'll just say. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here. You spent a lot of time with me, and I definitely do appreciate it. So please take a second, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I drop an Operation Monster Force review. And I know what you're probably thinking. Hey, have you done more of these? Well, you're in luck. I have, and I'm doing more. But right up here will be another one, and down here will be a playlist of all the Fresh Monkey Fiction, Big Bad Workshop stuff that I've done. Take care.